Well, hello and welcome to my channel. If you're already a subscriber, welcome back. You're very welcome here. I hope you enjoy this video. If you're not yet subbed, please consider doing so if you like this video, to get more awesomeness from MotovlogUK. So my name's Dave, and today I'm going to be taking you through my initial thoughts and impressions of my brand spanking new 2023 H2SX SE Performance Tourer. So let me see if I can find a nice place to plonk the bike so I can talk about it, because it's extremely windy out there today, gale force winds. So let's get stopped and let's have a look at it. Everyone's going to be looking at me like I'm a mental. Right, so let's get some stats first. I've had this about 6 weeks, and what have I done on it? I've been on, I think, 4 camps already in that 6 weeks. I've got a max lean angle of 30 degrees left, 30 degrees right, which is fantastic. It means my feng shui is all in sync. And what have I got here? So 2,043 miles I've done on this. So you may have watched a previous video where Moist Decoy took me down on his BMW GSA. So me and Moisty went all the way down to Kawasaki in Cornwall to pick this beautiful machine up. We did a 700-mile round trip, and it was an absolutely mega day. So it was pretty much ready for a service when I came back, and it's been through its first service now, obviously, after the 600 miles, and it's now obviously ready to be opened up, which to be honest with you, I haven't done yet, because I'm coming off the back of a VFR 800 and before that a GSXR 750. Now the GSXR 750 was always my dream bike. The VFR, I always wanted one of those as well as a kid, and I bought that to go 2-up camping with my son, and we enjoyed that for over a year. It was absolutely amazing, that bike. But when these came out in 2018, my jaw hit the floor. This was the bike that I was destined to get. So it took me 5 years to get there when I saw them in 2018. And I finally managed to get one. So this is the H2SX SE model, and I've had the performance and the tourer upgrade packs put on it as well. So just quick specs about the bike. I'm not going to go through engine and brakes, all that kind of stuff. I'll just show you what you can see, what's on it. And let me just get my other camera out so you can see better. I've got to leave my helmet on. I may as well talk into this because it's incredibly windy. Okay, so the H2SX SE Performance Tourer has a centre stand which is an absolute doddle to use. So the centre stand on my VFR I used to really struggle with. The bike just seemed incredibly heavy on that stand. This one is absolute piece of pie. It just rocks back onto the centre stand, no problem at all. I've had a helmet lock fitted, and I actually put that on myself, no problem at all, and I use that quite frequently so I don't have to carry the helmet around with me. It's got the frame sliders on from Kawasaki right there. Hopefully I'll never have to use them. And it's also got, let's go around here, it's got the Brembo brakes on it, which are amazing. They are absolutely amazing, them brakes. And I think apart from the there's the Akrapovic exhaust, which sounds glorious when you're up in the rev range. It sounds absolutely beautiful. Forgive the dirt on the bike. We've actually just come back from a camp down in Much Wenlock, so it's a little bit dirty. The other thing you get on it is the screen upgrade. So it's got a smoked, I think it's a touring screen on there, and this is the model that comes with the high beam assist cameras and the infrared cameras on the front as well. Okay, So I actually picked this bike up. I purchased this bike on a PCP from Cornwall Kawasaki. There are good reasons why I did that, all the way down in Cornwall. And if you ever buy a bike from Cornwall Kawasaki, you will know exactly why I went down all the way down there to get this beast. They're a fantastic little franchise down there. It's only been open just over a year, and I would urge you, if you know the bike you want and you've seen it somewhere else, I would urge you to give Mark or Liam or any of the guys a call down at Cornwall Kawasaki and see what sort of deal you can get from them. They are lovely people, and they will look after you. The after sales service is fantastic as well. So this bike in particular comes with the panniers as well, and the inner bags. They're at home at the moment. I've just taken them off, so I just wanted to have a scoot down in the park. But what I was saying was, I actually bought this untested. So for me, it's a little bit about the looks of the bike. Well, quite a lot about the looks of the bike. And as I say, this came out in 2018. I had to have it. It was the bike that I've always waited for, and I think the looks are absolutely stunning. I knew all about the performance figures and all that kind of gumph, but I actually got this bike because I wanted it to be a cruiser. So my expectations were a very big, chunky, beautiful handling cruising bike that I can put some pants and socks in the back, in the panniers, or a tent on the back seat, and go camping and travelling around, the countryside. And it is exactly that, I can tell you that now. My expectations have been fully realised with this bike. So another addition I had on the bike was the Kawasaki phone holder, which is not too bad. It's got a 12-volt charger here. I don't know why they put these chargers on the bikes, but I've got a little converter that converts that to two USBs, and I just run a lead up to my phone to keep it charged up. So yeah, again, I put that on myself. Cornwall Kawasaki sent me that up, and I popped it on, and you put the little bracket on your phone, and it just sits there quite happily. No problem at all. It's not right in front of my face, it's just off to the side, so you just glance over every time you want to look at your sat nav or whatever. So initial impressions about this bike then. The original bike that I wanted to buy was the black one. So I've had a philosophy for years: bikes are black, cars are white. So most of my cars have been white, and most of the bikes that I've had in the past have been black, except for the VFR that I bought. I couldn't find a black one, so I wanted a black Ninja H2SX. And then I was promptly told that if you want the SE spec, so the top spec with the performance turbo packs on it, you have to go for the green. There's no other choice. They wouldn't fit the brakes and stuff like that to the black one, so I've ended up with the green one, and I think it's okay. I would prefer a black bike, completely black, but it's growing on me a bit. It's not bad. The paint on this bike is amazing. It's got the metallic flecks in the paint. When it's in the sunlight, it really glows like a mirror ball. But yeah, there's a lot of green on there, and I would have preferred a black one, but beggars can't be choosers. If this is what you have to get the high spec, then it's a small price to pay, isn't it? Initial impressions about riding: it's the exact same riding position as riding the VFR, so there's no difference. It's exactly the same. And obviously this one comes supercharged, which means it's just got effortless performance and power. And coming off an 800 VFR onto this H2SX with a supercharger, you would think would be really scary. The only scary thing that I found was the size of the bike. So there is a lot of bike in front of you when you're riding this, but within 20 minutes I'd got the hang of that, and the riding position's the same. The only small thing was that I'm on the balls of my feet when I'm sitting on it, but you can actually drop the suspension down to help you with that. Of course, it comes fully loaded with all the toys on it. The ABS quick shifter up, down, blipper, whatever you want to call it. but it's that engine which is one of the reasons I wanted this bike. Is it just wafts along. So the power of this, when I picked it up from Cornwall Kawasaki, I put it in low power mode, so the lowest power mode it's got, and I put all the toys on, you know, all the traction control at full whack, and I rode it all the way back in that mode, and it was unbelievable machine. Obviously I was still running it in as well, so I couldn't go over 4,500 revs, but it was an absolutely unbelievable ride back from Cornwall. So I kept it in low power mode all the way through to the first service at 600 miles. Low power mode is actually plenty power. It's plenty power even in low power mode. But I took it in for the service, got it back, immediately put it into road mode, which is medium power, so I think that's about 75% power, still with all the traction and everything on. And I've been riding it now up to 2,000 miles in road mode, and the only time I put it to rain mode was when I went to the ABR festival last week and had to ride all over the grass and, you know, over the rocks and stuff like that, so I put it in rain mode for that. But I haven't yet you might think I'm a bit of a wuss, but there's a good reason why. I haven't yet put this in sport mode and opened it up. Okay, so I've had this in road mode and tried to open it up, and it is shockingly fast, absolutely shockingly fast. And I can't state that enough. It's not too fast, as in, you know, it's all in your right wrist, isn't it? But when you go to overtake on this in regular road mode, 75% power, you need your wits about you, because it overtakes cars and you get back in before you can blink. It is a phenomenal machine, absolutely phenomenal machine. I've opened it up in road mode, so this normal mode, 75% power, in third and fourth, and I get to about 8,000 revs and I bottle it and I change up or I slow down. So God knows what it's like in sport mode, but way too much for me. If I ever get to go on a track, then I'll be trying it in sport mode, but for now road mode is more than fine. It is absolutely nuts in road mode if you want it to be. If you don't want it to be, like me, you can just cruise around absolutely no problem in road mode. So the only other additions I want to put on this bike, and there are only two, I want to put a radiator guard and a exhaust guard down there. I think you can get two separate things that go on, and I'm going to get those and put them on. And then there is nothing else that I'm going to put on this bike or do to this bike. I'm not going to tune it. It is nuts as it is, and I don't need an end can on it because it's got the Akropovich on it already. So in the 6 weeks of ownership of my dream bike, I've just tipped the chocolate all over me. What have I actually done on it? Well, I'm really glad you asked. So the first thing I did after I got it, before I got it serviced, was I went on a weekend camping trip with the wonderful Motor Revers. So that was my first time of trying the bike, you know, ready for camp. So I put the tent on the back of the bike and got all my pants and socks and stuff in the panniers, and it was no problem. It was a brilliant camping weekend. The second thing I did was I went up to Halifax to see Fasty rides, and I spent 2 days trying to keep up with him because he lives up to his name. I was actually going to rename him to Fasty Slides because I thought he was going to come off a couple of times. But we had a blinding day, so I was in road mode all the way, and we had an absolutely fantastic ride up in Halifax. That was grand, that was. Hopefully I'm cutting away here to show you a few snippets from the videos I did. Then we went for a Somerset camp for 3 days. which again was brilliant. I went down with Moist Decoy, that was fantastic. And we went to ABR Festival. I haven't got an adventure bike, but I went there anyway with Moist Decoy again, and we had a fantastic time at ABR. So good, in fact, that we've already booked to go on next year's ABR Festival. It was brilliant. And I've just done 1 night's camping in Much Wenlock. It was a fast camp, spur of the moment thing. We just dove out down the Shropshire Hills, and we had a camp last night. So that's what I've been doing on the bike since I bought it. So those are my credentials. So let's dive into my initial feelings and thoughts about this bike. Obviously these comments are my own, my opinions only. Yours may differ, and I look forward to reading any comments you may have. So it'd be great to have a chat with you in the comments section. Number one on my list is the look of the bike. You may think that was going to be the engine and the supercharger, but it's not. It's 100% the look of this bike. It is absolutely gorgeous. So the minute I laid my eyes on this bike in 2018, it just blew my mind. I think it's a Marmite sort of situation. Some people like it, some people don't. I think it's phenomenal, and it's everything I've been looking for in a bike, 100%. And now I've got hold of it. The greenie's growing on me a little bit, but just the way it's designed is just awesome. It looks fast standing still, and it looks big and chunky, which it is. It's just gorgeous the way they've integrated the cornering lights and the radars and all the technology that's on it, and the fins, and obviously the supercharger vent there, you know, where it sucks the air in. I think it's just magic, absolutely magic. In my eyes, it's the best looking bike by far. Oh yeah, carry on, mate. Sorry, I keep having to cut away there. So I'm talking about the looks of the bike, and everybody wants to come over and have a look at it and talk to you, which is brilliant. I love talking to people, so that's why I was cutting away. So sorry about that. I love the looks, okay? The looks are blinding, and with that Akrapovic exhaust on, oh, it just looks like it's on a mission. As my son would say, that is a unit, and even with the bags on, it looks phenomenal. I think it would look better with the Brock system on it, but I'm not going to be tuning and Brocks and all that just yet. I'm probably going to keep it a couple of years before I start messing around with it. But that's my number one. It's the looks. Even with the bags on, it's a phenomenal looking bike. So number two on my list is clearly the engine, supercharger, and the handling of this bike. I'm going to combine them all in one. So if you like, you know, if you're a bit worried about getting a bike with this much power, I think it's got 200 horsepower, something like that. Don't worry about it. I've been happily bimbling about in low power mode. Absolutely no dramas. So if you want a drama-free ride on one of these things, if you take it out on a test drive, drop it down into low power mode and just go and have a bimble about. The bike seems to love it, whether it's going fast or slow. It doesn't matter. It's a big chunky machine. It feels absolutely solid, and it just seems to enjoy bimbling about. Even with the weight, I think it's quite a heavy bike, but when you're going, you can't feel any of that weight at all. It is a bit, you know, if you're on your tippy toes or the balls of your feet like I am, I'm 5'8". It is a bit of a machine to push around in the car park, but you soon get used to it. I'm already used to it. It's no problem at all. But that supercharged engine, let's talk about that. So low power mode, so smooth, no snatchy throttle, nothing like that. Absolutely beautiful. It's majestic. Even you drop it up to road mode, which I think is about 75% power, as I've said. I think, yeah, you may have to correct me on that. The throttle does actually get a little bit snatchy, which I think you can tune out, or you can adjust the engine braking so it's not as snatchy. I haven't messed with that yet. But in road mode, this machine is great in you know, just bimbling about, but when you want to get on it and you hit it in that road mode, it takes your breath away. So it's not like the H2R, which rips your arms off from, you know, the minute you touch the throttle. This is a progressive boost right through the rev range, and as I've said, when I get to 8,000, I think it goes up to 13, something like that. I've not gone beyond that yet. I've bottled it and changed up. The front wheel also starts coming up around that point, so that's not for me at the moment. So road mode, again, you would love it, absolutely love it. Get yourself out on one and try one. Sport mode on this, I can't imagine. Like I've said, it must be, you must be nuts to put this in sport mode unless you're on a racetrack, because road mode is plenty. So the handling then, and I'm not talking about all the toys that are on this thing, you know, the traction control, ABS, all that kind of good stuff. That's all brilliant, but the bike alone on its own, the handling, you know, in, mid and out corners, slow, fast, because it's such a big chunky machine, and it's got these brilliant tyres on. I don't know what they are, I'll put a title up. The handling on this thing is, for a massive bike like this, is amazing. It turns very quickly in corners. I have no problems in corners with it, and in a straight line, you know, on the motorway, it's brilliant. But the handling really does stand out on this. You can get it over no problem. You guys might be laughing at my 30-degree lean angle. That's my mental limit by the looks of it, and that is fine, absolutely fine. I've left an inch for the race on the back tyre, so 30 degrees is plenty for me. So I think a lot of the handling is obviously down to these, oh, it's got S22 written on there, down to these tyres. I've been told these are fantastic tyres, and they are. I will always put these tyres on this bike because they are brilliant. I've been told that they may wear out within 3,000 or 3,500 miles. I'm going to say that's a small price to pay for the handling they give you. It's worth it. So I'm probably always going to be popping these tyres on there because they fill you with so much confidence, it's unreal. Okay, so third on the list, I'm going to say it's the technology that's on this bike. It's got some amazing technology. It's not intrusive either, so I haven't felt any of this technology intruding on my riding at all. And I know it's doing stuff, but it hasn't intruded as far as I can tell. It clearly is, because when I went up Halifax and we was just throwing this into bends and, you know, just third gear pulls up to 8,000 revs, clearly the technology was doing a lot, but I didn't notice it. So it was keeping the wheel down, stopping me sliding around corners, all that kind of good stuff. I didn't notice it at all. I just enjoyed the ride. It was phenomenal. So standout features on the technology for me, blind spot detection on the mirrors is an absolute lifesaver. I found I've been looking at that blind spot detection. It flashes up and catches your eye. You know somebody's there next to you, so you don't even have to look. You just don't pull out. When that goes off, that little triangle on the mirror, then you have, you know, you do your lifesaver before you pull out. But blind spot detection on this is phenomenal, and also the radar assisted cruise control is a massive standout feature on this. When we was coming back from Cornwall, I immediately got the hang of that, stuck it to 70 and just cruised behind Moist Decoy on his GS, and it just sailed along, and it gave my right hand a good rest, which is always good, isn't it, on a bike, no matter what bike you're riding. So the fact that I can actually change modes while I'm riding, so we're still talking about the technology on this, I can go from road to rain to sport while I'm riding. I don't have to pull over, and the way you do that is you just ease off the throttle. So if you're going downhill in 6th gear and you think you can just roll down it a little bit. If you just close the throttle off, then you can use the toys on the screen there, and you can flick through the modes, and you can change the dynamic suspension from, you know, 1 up, 2 up, 2 up with luggage, 1 up with luggage, all on the fly while you're going along, because as long as you don't hit that throttle, you can change all these things. So the technology is brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant, and I'm sure when I get the hang of this bike and I start chucking it around a little bit, I'll be able to tell you a lot more about that technology. It's also got collision assist, so if you're coming up too fast to a car in front, it flashes the dash at you just to catch your attention. And you might think that's annoying, but it really does help when you're riding around. It really, especially when you're doing hundreds of miles, it really helps. So I like that as well. So technology for me is right up there. So those are the 3 standout features. I've got a 4th one actually. It's a bit of a peculiar one. This has got the cornering lights, and depending on how far you're leaned over, dictates how many lights come on and where they point. I thought that was a bit of a, you know, just a bit of a thing, but the 2 times that I have been in complete darkness on this, going down the lanes, they light up the whole verge. So if you're going around a left-hand bend, you know, the lights come on and the whole verge just lights up in front of you. They are brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And the front headlight on this and the high beam is awesome as well. So yeah, the cornering lights are a proper standout feature on this. Yeah, I thought it was just going to be a bit of a party trick, but it isn't. They're actually very useful. So the next thing that I really do like about this bike is its touring capability. So I bought this bike to be a continental cruiser, which means I'm going to sometimes have a tent on the back with all my stuff in the bags, and sometimes I'll be doing B&Bs with just stuff in the panniers, and sometimes I'll be taking my son to some B&Bs. So my son hasn't been on the back of this yet, so we've yet to do that. I want to be chucking him on the back of here and taking him around the country. From what I've done on it so far, camping and solo camping, all that stuff, it is brilliant. I've got so much stuff in those peculiar shaped panniers, it's unreal. I still can't figure it out. I thought the shape of those panniers was to complement the shape of the bike, and therefore they wouldn't be very good. But I think 2 things are true. They do complement the look of the bike, but I also get more in these panniers than I did on my massive VFR ones. And that's a bold claim, I can tell you that, because you wouldn't believe the stuff I could get in them VFR panniers. But these are better. I can get more stuff in. So its touring capabilities and the ability for it to just, you know, waft along without any dramas. I don't feel like I've got anything on this bike when the bags are full up and the tent's on the back. It's just a phenomenal piece of engineering, this bike. So those are my initial thoughts and impressions. It's an absolutely blinding bike. Is it a no compromise bike? I'm going to say no. There are things that could have been done better, would you believe, on this machine, and I'm going to be honest about those things, but I wanted to get a few more miles under my belt before I dig into that. So I'll be doing a things I hate, things I like about this bike video soon, and I'll go into some extreme detail about those things in that video, or those videos. But for now, I'm 100% happy with my purchase. It's an absolutely amazing machine, no kidding. So you probably heard that from a lot of people. There's a good reason why everybody says it. It is phenomenal. So I hope you like this like little video, my first impressions video. I'll do a more in-depth detailed video when I've been riding it a bit longer, because I want to get some more miles under my belt. But for now, thank you very much for watching this, and I will see you in the next vid. Alright, bye-bye.